Welcome back, everybody, and welcome for you that are new to the podcast. My name is Ray Woods, podcast Crab Out the Bucket, and on this podcast, I educate those from my past mistakes so you don't make the same ones through financial education, mindset, and career and business growth. If you're new to this podcast, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like and comment after you listen to this podcast, and also you can find me on YouTube, Crab Out the Bucket, where you can review my videos there as well. In today's topic, I'm going to talk about investing in yourself. When it comes to investing in yourself, some people tend to think that paying for something is going to be some type of scam. Investing in yourself is some type of scam. When somebody wants to sell you something and you already have that thought right off the bat that, oh, they're just trying to sell me something, you automatically close yourself off to a potential opportunity for yourself, which in reality, all it is a potential opportunity for you to pay some money to invest in your knowledge so you can go and do what you want to do in the future if you have those types of goals. Humans observe this so differently. They think, I want it free. Or like I said, what are you trying to sell? I have to pay money. It's too much money. It's probably a scam. People, this is how people think. People really think like this. And I can understand where they're coming from. Before I got into this entrepreneurial background or this entrepreneurial world, this side of things, and I was introduced to a network marketing company back in my past in community college. And I was always taught that those type of business models, those type of structures was a scam until I actually did it years later and made money from it and realized it wasn't a scam and realized that actually that type of model is very similar to things like real estate, like Keller Williams, where you have some type of tier level or you have some type of downline level to where you make money off of each other's money. And who doesn't want to make money off of other money? That's what people do anyway, right? So this is how humans observe things. They always think that, oh, you're trying to sell me on something. And I didn't fall for that back in the day, but until I opened my mind up and didn't shut people off and automatically assume, oh, you're just trying to sell me something or you're a scam, I actually listened to them or I actually asked them from the beginning. I be front with people and say, hey, if it's something that I need or if it's something that I want, I may consider buying it. If it's not, I'm going to tell you up front, but I may know somebody else that might want your services. So now I can refer them to you. So it's not like a negative relationship between the person that was trying to sell me or trying to get me to invest money into whatever that person was trying to sell me. So if you do things like that, it actually opens up more windows for you. And not only did you invest in yourself if you pay for it financially, but you invested in yourself because you made a good connection with that person. So humans observe things like this. They always think that somebody's trying to sell them and they put themselves in a bubble and prevent themselves from going from an opportunity that pops into their mind. You got to understand that everything is not free. You have to pay for something eventually. You see these different marketing ads and these different signs saying, I can teach you how to wholesale with no money down, where money has to be paid some part of the transaction. It has to be paid somewhere in the transaction. People talk about, I can show you how I went from $0 in my bank account to $350,000 per month using this, and that with no money and little work. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. You have to have some money, even if it's something small as marketing, and you have to put in the work for what you're trying to do. Things are not free, people. Things are not free. People think that the stimulus check is free. The stimulus check is not free. Trust me, you're going to get hit with some taxes later. You're going to have to pay for something eventually. So get out of that mindset and start investing in yourself. And if it costs money, now I'm not saying you need to go spend money on everything. So I'm not saying go pay for great value, because that's not always a good thing. Some things are good in a great value perspective, and some things are better if you buy it in brand name. But understand, I use an example. You have some people selling Facebook courses, and they're selling these different Facebook ads courses, and they're trying to teach you how to run Facebook ads. Now, I haven't taken every single Facebook ad course, but I would think if Facebook themselves are offering the course for free, it may be good to take the Facebook course for free, since Facebook is offering it. It is Facebook. Now, with that being said, there may be some other things that Facebook doesn't teach, and these marketers that are selling to you may give you some hints and tips that you may not know. But You also have to look at if somebody's selling that course and tips with stuff that Facebook doesn't give you, and they're selling it for $3, $4, $5,000, and you see another course that's for $30, $40, $50, and it's the same information, then you put two and two together and you make a good financial choice on that. Now, there are some things around in this business world that I've realized that when you do pay more money, you definitely get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. And when you pay less money, you get what you pay for. So certain things like fortune builders, I actually know people personally that are in fortune builders that are in the inner circle. They cost $50,000 to get into. But it is well worth it compared to everybody else that's in real estate. They have tools and resources and access to different capital, access to different types of people and levels of people in that industry that most people do not have. So paying for great value is not always a good thing, but you definitely want to weigh out your options before you start investing that money in yourself to improve your education. Here's a real estate example. So the growth ladder I see when it comes to investing in yourself, if you are one of those people that don't have much money to invest into things and you scraping up dollars to try to get into something, see if you can find a free course. Now, there are going to be something that's free out there, but eventually if you want to make some serious money, you're going to have to dump some money somewhere. And even the stuff that's free money is technically money is there. So for example, if you're watching something on YouTube, you're paying for internet. But to not be too technical, let's just say you want to learn how to start rehabbing properties. And what you could do is you can go up to YouTube and you can look at some free courses. Look at stuff like Bigger Pockets. Look at things like other people that rehab. I don't really watch too many rehab people. I really watch apartment investing. But let's just say Bigger Pockets, for example. They talk about fixing and flipping. They use the BRRRR strategy where you buy, you renovate, you rent it out, these different things. So, and you repeat. So you can look at those free courses there. You can find it on YouTube. You can read a lot of information. And then you start maybe getting into something that has like a smaller entry fee or a smaller monthly fee where you can learn more of the tricks of this game of rehabbing, for example, in real estate. And so you could do that. You could buy some books. You can spend money on books. That information right there, you're still investing in yourself and you're spending less than $100. You're spending potentially less than $50 for these things. And let's say you will see even gain something off of this and bump into somebody that can help you learn a little more, long as you're working with them, or maybe you could trade in off your time for their knowledge and you end up closing a deal that makes you more money. Now this is getting to the point where you're actually making deals happen because you're starting to learn the game. You're starting to understand at least the foundation of things, and you're starting to get to the point where you can really get your foot in the door by talking and being able to conversate with people that's in this business. Now, you don't want to go in there and sound like you're an expert because somebody is going to pick that apart from you, but you do want to go in where you fit in and then find some people that's actually more knowledgeable so you can at least bring that foundation to the table and bring your time to the table and bring the fact that you're hungry to the table. Because when you're hungry and you want something, you're going to go after it, especially if you know you don't have much money and you know that you can help somebody make some deals happen long as they educate and teach you and you guys are in a win-win situation. Once you get through something like that, then you're able to buy into these bigger networks. Because let's be honest, when you start spending a lot of money in certain clubs, maybe you part of a country club, or maybe you part of a different organization, or maybe you part of the Chamber of Commerce, you're spending money to buy networks. You're spending money because these people that you're talking to or that you're around is a certain group of people that are well in the 1 to 3% of people that make most of the wealth in this country, in the US. So when you're buying into these bigger networks, now you having the money where you can do that. You can get in these big groups and you can learn the tricks of what the big dogs do. And now you playing with some big money. By that time, more than likely, it's inevitable that you're going to gain a wealth of knowledge. You're going to be way better with money. You're going to understand so many things in life that is going to put you ahead of a lot of people who chose not to invest in themselves because they thought it was a scam. Now you see how I did these things in step. These things take time. You can't just jump to the top because you're going to get knocked back down without understanding these things. You want to learn this stuff slow. You want to move day by day. And you don't want to do the mistake that I did. And what I did was I ended up doing things so fast and thinking that things was going to happen so quickly because in my mind, I know it could happen for me. And I know that I'm able to get to these things. And I still believe that to this day, but I also understand in my physical form, in my reality form, it takes time for these things to come about. Spiritually and mentally, I know these things are ready for me and is waiting at the door with my name on it. But physically, you have to know that these things are going to take time. So this is why I bring these steps to you and tell you so you don't make the same mistakes I did. You don't want to try to go jump into these big networks and thinking that you're Mr. Big Dog because you got a big ego or because in your mind your pride is high. No, you want to be educated before you do that. And the only way to get educated is you start off slow and then you progress your knowledge as time go by. I'll give you a quick story. Whenever I met a certain group of people in Atlanta and I ended up pulling out a loan, and the loan was for about $400 or $500 or so. I stated this briefly on a previous podcast about how I got introduced to entrepreneurship, or a little bit after I got introduced to entrepreneurship, was I bought into this dinner. And the guy, I won't speak the guy's name. Well, I'll speak the guy's name. His name was Bill Walsh, and Bill Walsh is a great guy. He does a lot of business trainings, and he's part of this organization, his organization that goes around and coaches these different entrepreneurs and different businesses. And he has people making tons of money because of his knowledge and what he's able to do for people. And I've learned so much with him. And Bill Walsh is a great guy by any means. And what ended up happening was I spent this money. I took me and my wife, and I believe the dinner was maybe $200 per person. And that was just to get the ticket to go eat. That's not including us paying for our dinner. So you just get the ticket to go sit around these people. And the one thing I learned from this is if I would have never, now I don't suggest anybody go use debt to do this. You want to get some cash up and do this. Don't leverage debt to not make money. You want to leverage debt to make money. But if you're going to go learn something or take a course, use some cash. So I took this debt and I went to pay for this dinner, and I sat down with these guys, and these guys were making multiple 6 figures, multiple 7 figures. And I would have never guessed in my life I would ever be around people like this. I was dressed to impress. I was there. I was hungry. I was listening. I was taking notes at the dinner table. And I was very interested in what these guys was talking about. And then eventually I got into this real estate group where I ended up meeting tons of other people. I met this kid named Errol Allen, man. He's definitely, he's a young guy and he's an inspiration to me. And he does wholesaling and does a bunch of rehabs and Airbnb, and he's killing it out there. He's making, he has a 6-figure real estate business, and I would have never got around these type of people if I would have never invested money in myself from the beginning. If some other people would have been in that networking event that was free, and I would have came into the networking event, and when they got up on stage and they said, if you want to come to the VIP dinner, you got to pay $200 per person. Some people would be like, I'm not finna pay $200 for no dinner. I'm not finna do that. And per person. But I was the one that said, you know what? I ain't got nothing to lose. I was unemployed at the time, and I took the risk, and I was able to use that debt to go and meet and sit with these people. Now, I say that to say this. You have to take a chance. You have to take a chance. You have to take a risk sometime. I will say you need to calculate your risk. You need to take an educated risk. You need to take calculated risk so that the outcome is somewhat in your favor. You can't predict everything, but at least you can minimize any damages that may or may not even happen to you. And they may not even happen to you. So going there with the mindset of, I know I'm going to close this deal, or I know I'm going to make these type of connections. Go into it with the mindset of that, and you will do well. And look, worst case scenario, if you fail, you're not dead. So get your ass back up and keep trying it again. I went through school. I failed. It took me 5 times to pass calculus 3. It took me 4 times to pass chemistry, but I passed it. I graduated with an engineering degree. It took me multiple times in life before things actually came together the way I wanted it to. But it took time and it took patience. And what I'm saying to you all that's listening to this podcast is I want you to take time, and I want you to be patient, and I want you to invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, invest in your brain, because when you start looking at things from a different perspective, when you start seeing things for what they really are, and a lot of the things that you may have been taught was wrong, you start to understand that when you actually open yourself up out the box with education and by investing in yourself, your life starts to change. As I close down in this podcast, I appreciate you all for listening to the podcast. Go ahead and like and comment, share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Spotify podcast, also to my YouTube channel, Crab Out the Bucket, Learning from Past Mistakes. And until my next podcast and my next video, I will speak with you all later.